Hi there. So today I wanted to take you through 3 more tips that I use to decorate cupcakes. In my previous video I did the larger tips, so I did a 2A, a 2D, and a 1M. So you can have a look at that if you're after the larger tips. This time I'm going to do some of the smaller tips that I also use to decorate cupcakes. And so I've got 2 already in bags, and then I'll do the last one to show you. So this is a Wilton 104, which is a rose petal tip or a petal tip. So you can just see that it's slightly tapered at one end and slightly wider at the other end. And then I've also got a leaf tip, which is a 352, Wilton 352 tip. And if you can see, it's got like a little bit on there, and that's from the end. So that's for doing leaves. And then the last one I'm going to do is a hair or a grass tip, which is a 233, which is a very fun tip. So you can see all the little holes on the top of that one that give you all those little sort of stringy bits. Now with the larger tips, I would just cut off the end, put the tip down the inside of the decorating bag, and you don't need a coupler. With the smaller tips, because they're smaller, you want to use a coupler on the inside of the bag to secure the tip to the bag so that you don't have it popping out. So all you need to do is you can pop this in first. So the coupler comes in 2 parts. So this is the little ring that screws around the outside, and then the tip sits on the top of that. So this bit goes on the inside of the bag. So you just pop it down the inside of the bag before you cut it, like that. And then you can kind of see, you just want it sort of on this wide part, kind of in the middle. So I'm going to say that's about there. Then just move it out of the way, make my cut, and then I can push that through. So then all you do is you take your tip, that sits over top of that plastic piece on the outside, and then this holds the tip on and sandwiches the bag in between the base on the inside and your tip on the outside. So then you've got a secure bag on the end, and when you squeeze, you're going to get icing and not the tip flying off the end. So now that I've got that on there, I'm going to put my icing in. So just a quick reminder of the easy way to do this. So you just fold your bag back like that, so I can put my hand up underneath and get a good grip and cover my hand. I've got my bowl of icing just here. And then I'm just going to spoon this in. And as you can see, I'm just wiping the spoon across on the top of the bag. And because it's inside out, all the mess is staying inside the bag. So just scrape out all of my icing out of my bowl. And then there you go. So then I can just fold this back. All the mess stays on the inside of the bag. Then you just take the bag and I just squeeze it down like this, flip it around, squeeze it down like that, and then you gather it all at the top, twist a few times, and you're ready to go. So these are all the different tips that I've got, my 3 different tips, and I've got some 3 different colors. So let me grab some cupcakes and I will take you through some different things you can do on top of a cupcake. Okay, so I thought I would start with our petal tip, which is the Wilton 104. And that has a slightly thicker bit at one end and a slightly thinner side at the other, so tapers to the other side. And so when you use this tip, you generally have the thicker bit closest to your cake or your cupcake, and then you have the narrow bit as further away. So I'm going to start by making a little rose. And you can do this on a flower nail and then transfer it to the top of your cupcake, or you can just do it directly on top of the cupcake. So I'm going to start by just putting a little mound, and I'm just going to sort of squeeze out a little mound of icing like that. It's not very pretty, but it works. And then from that, so that's going to be the center of my flower. And so then all I'm going to do is squeeze and release and do little sort of up and down movements, so sort of like a little arch as I go around, and I'm just overlapping them slightly. And so you're just going to keep going up and around, overlapping as you go. You can make the petals whatever size you want. You can flare them out more. You can keep them more vertical. And so you're just going to keep twisting and overlapping just like that. There you go. So then you have a really pretty rose on the top of your cupcake. Now you can just leave it and keep going, so you've got the whole top of your cupcake covered in a lovely rose, or you can leave it there. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and I'll do, when we get to the leaf tip, I'll show you how to add just some little leaves around the outside. But that is how simple it is to just use the 104 to make your little rose on the top of your cupcakes. Very, very pretty, very, very easy. So we'll set that one there. And then with your petal tip, the other thing that this one is good for is doing ribbons. So you can do all sorts of different types of ribbons. You can actually make sort of a crazy ribbony top. So just squeeze, and as you squeeze, just sort of squiggle your ribbon all over the top of your cupcake like that, and fill in any little bits. So you can get sort of a crazy little pretty ribbony thing on the top of it, and that's a really easy one to do on top of cupcakes or over a whole cake, and it looks really, really cool. So that's sort of your ribbony kind of look that's a little bit, yeah, kind of chaotic, but sort of all over the place, but looks really, really neat. Now there are two other types of ribbon effects that you can do as well. You can do little squiggles. So you can do little squiggles into the center of your cupcake, just like this. This looks nice on a cake as well. And so you're just squiggling it as you go into the center, like that. Oh, a little higher. So you just sort of squiggle and get smaller as you're going into the center. Again, on the top of a cake, that looks really neat as well. But you can play around with the different sort of little ribbony patterns that you get like that. And then you can also do similar to a rose, but it's more of a just around the outside. So you're still going to keep your big part of the tip facing in and the little one facing out. And you're just going to do a continuous ribbon around the outside like that, and spinning as you go. My wrist only goes so far, so I'm going to stop for a sec, and then I'm going to do my next layer as spin and twist. There you go. So you get another sort of pretty flower, very easy. That one's easier than the rose, and it's really pretty. And you can do that in all different colors. So very, very simple to do, and very, very pretty. So we've got these four. Let me bring that one up. So those are all the lovely little patterns. Move these out of the way. Those are all the lovely little patterns that make your cupcakes really, really pretty using the Wilton 104 petal tip. So those are some different styles that I like to do with that. So let me pop that one down, and I'm going to grab my leaf tip next. So the leaf tip, as you can see, has a little dip in the middle, a little bit cut out, and so it looks kind of like a little beak. And it's a leaf tip because it makes very beautiful leaves. So I'm going to grab my rose that we just did, and so what I want to do is add my little petals. So to do petals now, it sort of seems like you should have it flat like this, and that's how you're going to want to apply your icing, but it's not. You actually want to turn it on end, so it's a vertical tip, so the point's like this, and when you squeeze it, that gives you the little vein in the middle. So I'm going to just hold it vertically on top of my cake, and then as you squeeze and then pull, you get your little petal. Let me try this way so you can see a little bit better. So you're just going to squeeze and release, and you get another little petal. And turn, and then you get another little petal. So obviously you can squeeze a lot and get a longer petal, or you can squeeze a little bit, just a little squeeze, and get little mini petals, or leaves. So that's your sort of very simple and easy way to add leaves. You can add as many as you want to your rose, so you just add your leaves all the way around. So you can do that. So then that looks very, very pretty as well. So that's the start and the basic of a leaf tip. Let me move our other cupcakes out of the way. And so the other thing that's nice or easy to do with the leaf tip is still using it sort of doing your leaves, but doing sort of a little wreath. So this is good for the holidays. And you're just going to do, and you can do darker colors, or you can do a bunch of different colors and alternate. So you're just going to do tiny little squeeze, release in different directions, in and out. You can do little up swoopy ones as well. So that gives you a little pretty wreath, and it looks better if you do a couple different shades of green so that you get a little bit more depth to it, and then you can just use a plain tip and draw a little bow at the top. I would cover the cupcake underneath, maybe just some plain white icing, but that gives you a very easy little wreath to do as well. So we'll leave that one there. I'll actually pop the little rose back. So those are two easy ones to do with the leaf tip. Now the other thing with the leaf tip is doing a little sunflower. Now I'm going to do my sunflower in yellow because it looks a little bit better. So this is the other nice thing about using the coupler system. So I can just unscrew this and pop that tip down. And do the same with my green because I want to use my leaf tip on the yellow. So I'm going to put my leaf tip over there. I'm actually going to put the hair tip, grass tip on the green so we can do some green grass. And we'll set that out of the way. And then I'm going to take my leaf tip and put that onto the yellow to do a sunflower. Now obviously there is a little bit in the end there, so I'm just going to squeeze. I'll just show you. So you just squeeze until you get the yellow coming out. So then our yellow is ready to go. Let me grab another cupcake. So again, same idea as making your little leaves and your wreaths. It's going to give you the little petals of a sunflower. So you're going to start on the outside and squeeze and release. Just little ones. And just squeeze and release as you go. Like that. So that's your first layer, and then you're just going to keep going, and on your second layer you're just going to overlap your little petals of your sunflower, and you can pull them up a little bit if you want to give it a little bit more of a 3D look. You're just going to do little short petals. And again, you're going to do another layer. And I'm just using a pastel yellow. Obviously, if you tint this, this is just a golden yellow, but very little bit. So you can obviously make it a darker, nice dark sunflower. And then I'm just going to grab a few little sprinkles that I've got here to just drop into the middle, because you've got usually your seeds. And this is purple, so it makes it a purple and pale yellow sunflower. But you can always get whatever, the little brown chocolate covered sesame seeds work well, or some little brown little balls like this, or little teardrop shaped ones, whatever you wish. But then that gives you a very pretty sunflower in pastel-y colors, and that's how you do your sunflower, using the little leaf tip on the end as well. So 3 very easy ways to use your leaf tip to do other things. So you've got your leaves, and then you've got a sunflower, and you can do a lovely wreath as well. And I can try and even put a little pink bow on my wreath, a ribbony one. Actually, that looks pretty bad, but you get the idea of how that's going to go. It's easier when you just do a little bit with a plain tip. Right, so now we've done those. We'll move them out of the way. There we go. And since we've already put our grass tip onto the green, we can make some green grass. So the grass tip has a whole bunch of little tips at the end. So rather than having to use a solid, just a plain round tip and do a whole bunch of hair, this just means you can do a few at a time. And these are a little bit thinner, so it makes it a little bit quicker. So with this one, again, you just squeeze and release and sort of pull away as you go. So squeeze and release, and you get your little dollop of grass on the top. So squeeze and release. And this one I find takes a little bit of time to get sort of the pressure right, so you can get your grass as long or as short as you want. But it's also very forgiving in that, you know, if this bit looks too, the middle bit looks a little bit too short, you can just put another little bit on top of it. So I find you can go back over quite easily to do that one, to fix it up if you've done a really short one that you want longer. And so if you can see on the sides here, I'm doing slightly longer ones so you can get it to hang over the edge of your cupcake if you want, like that. And so again, that's just how long you keep the pressure on the tip. So press and squeeze, you can make really long strands as you go. And then you can also do shorter ones that stick up, and you can get some crazy grass. So you can cover your whole top of your cupcake like that, and then you can pop a flower on the top of that, or some eggs at Easter time. Those little chocolate eggs work really well, or a little bunny or a hedgehog, or all sorts of different things on top of there. And that's your grass tip. Now, it looks like grass, but it also looks like hair. So again, you can do sort of crazy different things. You can make little crazy, let's do so you can use it to do hair. We're going to do green hair, I guess, then. So if you're doing a face and you had eyes and stuff, you can squeeze, you know, and you can make your hair parted in the middle and coming down. Obviously change the color unless you really want green hair. It does work well for doing green-haired monsters and stuff. And then you can just do your little face in the middle of that. And then you can obviously do big shaggy monsters. So with big shaggy monsters, you're going to want, I'm just going to use up some of my, you want to make up your little mound in the top like that, so your little monster can stand up. And then you can just go in and pipe around making a shaggy monster, which is quite fun. If you've got a 3D bear tin or bear tin or something like that, an animal that needs hair on it or fur, this is the tip you're going to use. Again, you can choose whatever color. I've done gray bears and brown bears as well. So that's quite fun. I did use this tip actually to do my spider in the Halloween cupcakes, to give it sort of a furry looking spider. So there's your little mound, and then let me just grab some eyes. Sorry, there we go. So let me grab some eyes, and then on my little monster face, I'm going to turn them around this way. So you can do two little eyes like that, and that's your little crazy looking monster dude. Or you can even put more little eyeballs in like that. These are just little candied eyeballs that you can buy. And then you get your crazy little monster. And if you want, you can put black licorice out for arms, or just leave them as is, some fun different colors. So that's sort of a lot of fun to play around with your grass and your hair tip. So that does all sorts of things, and you can change the colors and go nuts. But those are just 3 more tips that I often use to decorate cupcakes, and they're very simple ways to practice making your cupcakes look really pretty. So if we just bring those back in. So this was our 233 Wilton tip, which is a hair or a grass tip. And then we had, just before that, we had our leaf tip, which was a 352, and that's doing your sunflower, your wreath, and then your actual leaves on your beautiful rose, and then doing your rose with your 104 petal tip, and then also using it to do all these ribbony, cool ribbony patterns as well, and more of an open sort of ribbony flower kind of thing as well. So I hope that gives you a few more ideas of some fun and easy ways to decorate your cupcakes. I definitely like using these 3 tips as well as the larger 3 tips to make some fun patterns and some very pretty cupcakes. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up if you like my video. Please give it a try. They're so much fun to play with, and I'm sure if you're just practicing, then you'll have lots of friends and family who are very happy to help you sample all your practice ones. And please subscribe to see what else I'm up to. Thanks so much again for watching.